As described above, Kiuchi had an amazing near-death experience when he was 22 years old. However, this is not the end of his near-death experience, because he had near-death experiences 3 times. Actually, 32 years later, when he was 55 years old, Kiuchi had the second and third near-death experiences in Shanghai, China. Kiuchi understood Chinese without help of the interpreter. While his mind traveled to the past, the doctors and nurses were struggling to revive him in the hospital room. When he was revived, his mind returned to his body. But, when his heart stopped, his mind got out of his body again. Kiuchi repeated the same things over and over, that is, his mind kept on going in and out of his body many times. In the meantime, something very strange happened. The doctors were talking something in Chinese around him. Kiuchi could not understand Chinese at all. However, for some reason, he could understand what they were talking in Chinese. He is on the point of death. Would it be better if we contact an embassy? Strangely enough, Kiuchi completely understood their conversation. Kiuchi wondered why he could fully understand the language he had never learned before. Perhaps, when a person becomes a spiritual being without a body, they may be able to understand directly what other people think without words. The doctors were talking openly about his critical condition. They seemed to think that Kiuchi could not understand Chinese. However, Kiuchi fully understood what they were talking in Chinese. "Oh, I'm in such a serious condition." Kiuchi was so shocked to know what they were talking that he was getting a little worried. Strange things continued to happen. At that time, the hospital provided him with an interpreter, because Kiuchi could not understand Chinese. Surprisingly enough, according to the interpreter, when a doctor spoke to him in Chinese, Kiuchi answered in Chinese without any help of the interpreter. The doctor talked to him in Chinese. "Mr. Kiuchi, do you get what I'm saying? Are you okay?" Amazingly, Kiuchi answered immediately in Chinese without any help of the interpreter. "Yes, I'm okay." At that time, Kiuchi had no doubt in his mind that the doctors were kind enough to speak Japanese for him, and he answered in Japanese. Later, the interpreter asked him with a wondering face, "Mr. Kiuchi, how do you know Chinese?" Kiuchi was very surprised to hear his words. "What did you say? I don't know Chinese at all. On the contrary, I have never learned Chinese." "What? You kidding me? Actually, you were talking with the doctors in Chinese. And you answered to them in proper Chinese without any my help." "Was I talking with them in Chinese? No way. They spoke to me in Japanese. So, I answered to them in Japanese, too." "Were you speaking Japanese?" "No. You were really speaking Chinese." "That makes no sense." In this way, Kiuchi and the interpreter did not get what they were talking about. So, they were just dumbfounded. Perhaps, in the spiritual state without a body, Kiuchi was communicating with the Chinese doctors telepathically. Actually, after his mind came back to his body, his mind was blocked from the greater universal mind. As a result, Kiuchi returned again to his old self, who did not know Chinese. After that, Kiuchi had a delicate operation to suture the vein. Furthermore, he had to have an operation to have the entire liver removed due to the dysfunction of the liver. Actually, he had a bad liver before he came to China. The team of Chinese doctors told him, "The test shows that you have completely developed liver failure. We are afraid that there is no other treatment but to conduct donor liver transplantation." Then 1.5 months at the hospital, Kiuchi finally returned to Japan. After returning, he had an examination at another hospital. Strangely enough, the result of the re-examination showed the liver failure returned the state prior to the dysfunction. Generally, once the liver gets bad, it could get worse, but it won't recover. There are not many cases that a severe liver failure with no hope of cure but to conduct donor liver transplantation recovered to the state prior to the dysfunction. Thus, Strange things did happen. In this way, Kiuchi had amazing near-death experiences 3 times.